All right, so we're back to segment 2, and Sally is on her way. And again, this is Dana Doherty Swanson, who's a delegate to the Republican convention that just concluded, and state committee woman. And to my left is, leftist, Stan Escudero, Republican chair of Volusia County and writer of the guidepost for HeadlineSurfer.com. Dana, you were at the convention, so you didn't get to see much TV, but I'm sure that you've watched enough cable TV over the years with the news for, your political interests. It seemed to me that the Republican convention was, if you were MSNBC, you were anti-Republican. If you were Fox News, you were pro-Republican, pro-convention. If you were CNN, depending on who your analyst was, you were either pro or anti. I guess that's a competitive balance, Stan?
Generally speaking, I would say that that's about right. I think while Fox is obviously pro-Republican, they do make a greater effort to achieve balance than MSNBC, which is, if anything, to the left of Barack Obama, probably to the left of Vladimir Ilyich Lenin.
And the reason why I bring this up, Dana, is because which we'll get into segment 3, the Clint Eastwood part of this is the fact that Al Sharpton, of all people, to be critical of, what a political point of view is when, he's a lightning rod himself. I mean, you've seen enough of the cable TV in the last decade since the networks have emerged, the cable networks. What's your impression of the 3 networks?
Pretty much that's why I stick with Fox News, because so often the other media outlets are just so much to the left, or just either very, very left, or still that slanting towards the left. And Fox News, I just always, like they try to say about being fair and balanced, they'll have their Republican-leaning commentators, but they'll still have also those who are left, but it's a good debate, and it gives you a true essence versus the other, where if you're watching them, all you get is the left point of view.
And Stan, it seems to me that if you want someone that's a cheerleader for the conservative or for the Fox brand more than anybody, it has to be Sean Hannity. And you would agree, David.
Oh, yes.
Someone like Bill O'Reilly, he can get on your nerves sometimes, but it seems to me like he's a little more open to getting different points of view, even though sometimes he beats up on people. But when it comes to CNN, I think the analyst that I really like the most is David Gergen, the senior advisor to Presidents Ford, Reagan, Clinton, one other president I missed along the way. But what about that whole issue about CNN? Where do you see them next week at the Democratic convention?
Well, I see them right up there with the other cable networks and the regular networks. I think they're going to be giving it, their best coverage. I certainly agree with you that Gergen is probably their best analyst.
They've got some other people too. Roland Martin is.
They have some good people. They tend to be, I think, a little left of center.
But not as extreme as MSNBC.
Oh no, MSNBC could be a subset of the Communist Party of the United States. I mean, they're so far to the left that they're not worth considering as a news organization.
Between Tom Brokaw and Matthews, I know Tom Brokaw's retired, but he still shows this, has an appearance once in a while from NBC. It seems like next week, MSNBC is going to be the place to go to get the Obama message across, and Fox is going to be the antagonist, like MSNBC was this time. You think that's fair? You think that's a good balance?
I think it's fair, and also, just you're talking cable, if you notice, like, one thing being a delegate, they said there's probably was 4 news reporters for every delegate, because there's 2,500 of us and there were 10,000 media, and we get interviewed a lot, and a lot of the times it was not about anything positive about the convention, but case in point, the bus situation. I think in the print media, there was more news about the bus situation, and they're trying to deflect from the true meaning of the convention itself.
Do you think in the print media it also is because you have limited reporting? A lot of the newspapers don't have the money, and they'll send Associated Press or one of those news services. Whereas with TV, you've got multiple. You've got TV stations. plus you have the networks. It's almost like, kind of like go to the hearings for George Zimmerman. There'd be like 5 producers for CNN and like 6 reporters taking up all the benches, all the seats in the courtroom.
Well, I just noticed that it seems that you can almost tell the media outlets slant, because either they were asked about, what did you think of the speeches? Did you think they were great? Or they were focused on the negative. Oh, I heard you were trapped on the buses for 4 hours. It's like you could almost tell the slant. Either they wanted to be trying the negative connotation in the convention, and that's what they wanted to publicize, instead of the bright spots.
I'm sorry, I'm curious, how far away were the buses for many of the delegates? I guess you were all at area hotels, but I mean, there were a lot of people, I guess some of them had to come from pretty good distance.
Well, the first night there was an issue with the buses. The RNC had where you took the buses from the Tampa Times Forum, and then you went to a transfer station at the Raymond James. The problem is, we were trapped on the buses for 2 hours.
Oh my God.
To go to Raymond James, and then our hotel was a little over an hour away. So the next day, thanks to the Republican Party of Florida, the Republican Party of Florida decided our delegates are not going to take the RNC buses. They hired their own
There would have been
buses.
no energy left you, I guess, by the 3rd day.
Well, basically, because we were, I didn't get on the bus going for my hotel to, I remember checking my cell phone, it was 1:18 in the morning, and I didn't get back to almost 3 a.m. because we had to wait till the bus filled up, and then we finally were able to go. And that was a lot of the news media outlets' focus the next day was the bus situation.
Go ahead, make my day. Clint Eastwood. What do you think?
Well, once again, I think that he was primarily up there to provide a sort of a comic relief segment, which, as Dana was pointing out earlier, was satirical in the sense that it did take big whacks at Obama as a president whose chair in the Oval Office is empty, because he himself tends to outsource his decisions, like handing over the stimulus to the Congress to write for him, or getting the Congress to push through Nancy Pelosi and Reid to push through Medicare, or not passing any budget at all. He's a man who campaigns well but doesn't govern, and I thought that Eastwood's presentation basically showed that very well. And I've heard the term used that what he did was he Eastwooded Mr. Obama, and I think that's fair.
Well, Dana, I mean, Clint Eastwood's an American icon. Spaghetti westerns, The Dirty Harry, even Gran Torino, his last big one, where he was with the gun and protecting the neighborhood. What about the satirical? To me, he's an actor, yes, that foremost, but he was a politician. He was a mayor of a city in California. I can't remember what the city was, but Carmel. I mean, he's certainly better than Sonny Bono. What about that? I mean, was it just comedic relief? I mean, some criticized it was an embarrassment to Rubio follow up and then introduce Romney on Romney's night, or was there a point to it?
Well, my opinion, there was a point to it, in that Clint Eastwood was saying, basically, to give the impression to us was that you can interview Obama and you'll never get an answer out of him of anything. And so why even have him there? Because you won't get an answer. Because he doesn't answer any of the questions, because he doesn't have a track record to really run on of actually improving anything. So he doesn't want to answer it. And also I think Clint Eastwood, hearing some of the media afterwards, and Clint Eastwood during, I think it was the Super Bowl, had a commercial where he was actually trying to talk about America, but some people thought, because of the car industry, that it was almost supporting Obama, and I think Clint Eastwood wanted to do this to say, I am a Republican, I'm a conservative, and that people got the wrong impression from that commercial, that Clint Eastwood is a conservative and he believes in the Republican Party, and that was a commercial about America trying to rebuild itself, not anything.
Well, you were there. Let me ask you this. The best parts, I thought, were when he was pretending that Obama was there and he was talking to me and he's like, you want me to tell him to go what? did that go over everybody's head, or did you guys get it?
See, I laughed.
You got it.
I got it. Now, see, it all depended. Some people got it, some people did not. My one criticism about it is that it went on for 12 minutes. I think it should have been condensed down because it would have hit harder. If it had been just brought in, reined in just a little bit, and a few more of his taglines brought in.
The hair, the suit. What was that all
He's
about?
80-something years old.
Well, he is an older man, yes, he's 80 or more, but I thought that
Is
that
he trying to
was
show
part-
that he's still
No, I thought
viral
that
and
was
he's got
part of,
hair?
I thought that was part of the comedic persona. That he wasn't coming out as the man with no name in the spaghetti westerns, or the fellow
Okay.
driving the truck with the
Coming out,
with the
cowboy.
orangutan or anything like that. He
Oh,
was-
yeah, I forgot about that one too.
He was coming out.
Clyde.
No, he was coming out as, kind of an older man from Hollywood who nevertheless knows where the country's interests lie.
Well, my feeling on, to wrap up this segment is when you have Al Sharpton from MSNBC and you've got Geraldo Rivera on Fox agreeing, then I think his message was pretty clear. I think it was legitimate, and I think he made a good point of, if the guy's not getting the job done, you fire him, right?
Exactly.
Well,
I agree.
that concludes this segment, and we'll move on to the substance of the convention, Paul Ryan, the VP, and the issues at hand.